Where I came from, I will 100% sit here and tell you that I am successful right now. And I shouldn't be. Like, I should not be where I am now. And like looking back through all of these moments, I'm like, I know for sure he was always there with me, guiding, because I've done some stuff where like I probably shouldn't even be alive. This is me publicly declaring that I have an open heart for God. And to me, it was like taking that moment to like wash away everything that I don't want to be anymore. And that's why I got baptized. There are people where we started the Run Across Texas. There are a bunch of people looking right at me, and I say the exact sentence, what you are about to see is not of me, but of God.
Happy Thanksgiving, Afterthinkers.
We made it.
Out there in the world. Just came up with that. Afterthinkers.
Afterthinkers.
That's our audience. The fan base. Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to our special. Every year on the Afterthoughts podcast, we do the Afterthoughts Thanksgiving special. Doug, Ryan, are you excited? Yeah. I'll tell you why I'm most excited is because we have a fourth joining us for the Thanksgiving special.
Yeah, we do.
I try to think who would have fun.
Right.
And, you know, revel in some of the ridiculousness of this podcast.
Sure.
But also has a great story to tell.
Yeah.
And so Matt is with us today.
Let's go, Matt.
I'm
Come on,
here.
Matt.
Come
Welcome,
on,
Matt.
Matt.
Welcome.
Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give the people enough that they want to listen to the rest of this episode after our Thanksgiving shenanigans.
Okay.
But then if for the people, the afterthinkers who don't like to have fun, after you give your intro, they can skip through the fun part and just get to your story.
Okay.
This is like the opening scene.
Give them
that
something
really
to
hooks
keep
people.
them here, please.
Yes.
Because we're about to do some wild things.
Because we don't have anything.
Where do I look? Is this Mike? Is this
you
the
just
camera
talk
here?
to us. You don't worry about the
cool.
camera.
Yeah.
Pretend they're not even here.
Where do I?
This is just four guys.
with my hands?
Yeah, you raise the roof.
Okay. All right. Hello.
This is just four guys at the Thanksgiving feast.
And
right?
you've already made a Ricky Bobby reference, which means the rest of this is just house money.
I love it.
Great
I
job.
love it.
First name.
Yes. My name is Matthew Johnson.
Oh, and last. We got last.
Oh, sorry.
Let's go middle.
I'm not great at following instructions.
Middle name.
Okay. James.
Matthew James Johnson.
MJJ.
Great name.
Yeah.
That's great.
MJ. Born on the 23rd.
And you share initials with Michael Jordan.
Whoa.
Born on
Which
the
month?
23rd. March
23rd.
3/23. Isn't that just like?
That's nice.
It's kind of cool.
Michael Jordan, 23.
Yeah. I love
Congrats
it.
on that.
Thank you. I tried my best.
Anything else noteworthy about you other than you were born on the 23rd?
That'll keep him
No,
listening.
that's about it, to be honest. So hopefully you like Michael Jordan to stay around. He's not here, but go ahead and stay around.
Michael Jordan might make an appearance on this episode.
Listen till the end to
It's
find out if
possible.
Michael Jordan is here.
All things are possible with God. So it says.
Doug's like, here we go.
And I guess asking you, like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis work-wise is a little bit of a funny question because you have a unique career in life.
Yeah, I just kind of do things.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
which things?
So I spent almost 10 years in the military and got out last February. I was originally from Des Moines, Iowa, moved down to Austin, Texas. So I've been down here for almost 2 years.
Okay.
I thought my goal was to become an online coach, coach runners online. And in that process, built up an Instagram following, and now my full-time job is running, and kind of skipped over the coach and became the athlete. I would say, I'm paid full-time to run. So I would call myself a pro runner, a pro athlete. And I get to make content as a full-time job. And, I'm super blessed to be able to do that, and to, the road that it has led me down, is a rocky one, but it was a hell of a ride.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a great metaphor too. The road it led you down. Wow. Is rocky.
Yes.
So you're a trail runner.
The rocky road. Yeah, actually my first ever trail run was Leadville, Colorado.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay. That's high up there.
Yeah. 10,000 feet.
Yeah.
I got absolutely destroyed the first time.
Yeah.
I didn't even finish the race.
That's
but
crazy.
it took me, I had to come back the next year and get it done.
Yeah. You got to acclimate for that.
Yeah, I didn't.
Have you ever had Rocky Road ice cream?
No,
Okay.
I'm not a big ice cream guy.
We're going to get you some.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not an ice cream guy.
Not
Well, that's
really.
okay because we're having pie today.
Yeah,
Oh,
today's episode
wonderful.
is Pie Day.
Wonderful.
A couple quick things, though. Thank you for serving our country.
Yes.
We just celebrated Veterans Day. I feel like veterans are probably the most overlooked group of people in our country. So thank you.
Yeah.
And you've been doing some work to raise awareness and money for veterans. So we'll talk about that and your whole run across Texas. There's the teaser
Yes.
for people to keep listening.
Yes.
You just ran.
841 miles.
You ran from
Jeez.
El Paso
to
to Galveston in 17 days, 8 hours, and 55 minutes.
Dude, we're going to get into it.
841 miles.
Doug, how many did you run last night?
I lightly walked once.
So we'll get into that too.
yesterday.
Okay.
I did a run. where
Yeah,
you-
I am like, the fact that I'm here today, man.
Matt has taken away my ability to ever stop a run. Because I'm like, I'm just tired. I'm like, wait.
Well,
I know a guy who ran across this state. I don't even want to drive across the state. So
dude.
Yeah.
we'll talk about your running because there's a lot of cool stories that
Yeah.
led up to that and from that. But first, happy Thanksgiving,
yes.
Come
Happy
on.
Thanksgiving.
guys. First things first, last year, our youth pastor, Ethan Morales,
Yes.
so generously,
Yeah. Spent
wonderfully,
so much time.
kindly baked us a pie,
Mm-hmm.
to which Kayla just shredded it. She gave him a 6 or a 7 out of 10 on a homemade
6.
pie that he literally smoked.
Like so much
Yeah.
love was put into it.
And she just so cold. Was
Are
like
these
7
pies
out
going
of
to be
10.
homemade?
To the point where
One
random
of them.
people
One of
that I've met
We
are
won't
like,
know
oh,
which
so Ethan Morales is like, he's really bad at making pies
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Like,
no, that's
like,
the
I-
opposite.
So Kayla, if you could, hey, can you mute her mic while he's in here just to, because we want to actually make him feel celebrated.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's welcome to the set, Ethan Morales.
Ethan.
I'm
Come on,
nervous.
Morales.
I'm
Oh,
nervous.
my
Thanks,
goodness.
Okay, we have 4 different pies.
Yes.
One of them is
Oh.
homemade.
Sorry about the ice cream, Matt.
This is gonna
We're
be like
gonna,
a-
we're gonna go like that.
Didn't know. Wouldn't have done it.
Hey, Morales, come here. Oh, he's bringing more. Oh, we should also
boy.
say,
Oh,
over on the couch here, we have Amanda,
Yeah.
Yes.
Matt's girlfriend.
Amanda's here.
Hello,
Amanda's awesome. She's going to try some pie too. She got a sampler plate.
So you told Amanda, like, now I get it. So because Amanda's like, I'm going with you,
I'm
right?
going to come, right? Yeah.
and it
she's-
was because Ethan's like, hey, we got pie.
hey, we're going to have 4. You can try 4
we have
different
pie
pies
and
we
we
got
have chicken
pie.
nuggets.
man.
And we have
Pie.
chicken nuggets.
Yeah, we
With
have chicken
buffalo
nuggets.
sauce if you want it.
If you want it.
Okay, and Kayla is going to try all
Bam.
4. So
Yes.
here's the deal. Each of these, or one of these is homemade by
Okay.
Morales. We
Okay.
don't know which one.
It's that one.
We're all going to take a bite.
Okay.
We're going to give them ratings,
Okay.
and we're going to figure out which one Morales made.
We're all
Okay,
using the same fork, right?
Hold on to your fork.
Hold on
Yeah.
to your fork.
Use your fork.
Anybody have COVID right now?
Yes.
Certainly hope not.
We will find
Doug
out.
does.
Maybe.
Okay. Pie number
Okay.
1. Well, for me, it's 2.
We have like a palate cleanser. Do we have like a palate cleanser here?
Yeah, that's right.
Am I supposed to chew into the microphone?
I'm trying not to look. 'cause I
Yeah,
don't-
people love that.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
good.
I will say the blueberry is very good, but I don't think it's the homemade one.
It looks fantastic.
This one's
a good one.
homemade.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's a good
Okay.
Matt's saying number
Was it good?
4.
Yeah, number
Rotate
4 for sure.
clockwise.
Okay.
Number 2 is pretty
Pass the
solid.
forks.
While we're doing this, what are you
Switch
guys?
forks with somebody.
Switch forks.
What are you guys grateful for this year?
I'm grateful for Morales.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
I'm
great,
also
great
grateful
youth
for
pastor,
Morales.
a great baker,
Yeah.
and he responds to criticism and gets better.
Wow.
He doesn't let it defeat.
Like
he
that.
doesn't let
Like
Kayla
Whoa.
defeat him.
Resilience.
This
Number
is really
4.
good.
Number 4 is different. I think this one's the homemade one.
This one.
That's my vote.
This one, I've tasted that like at my grandmother's house years ago.
But I
It
haven't
might be
been,
the same.
I
it might
haven't
be
been to the
the
other
same-
ones yet.
It might be the same.
We actually flew a pie in from
We did.
Surprise.
Just to throw you off.
Amanda set us up with.
Michael
Oh yeah,
Jordan.
this has a nice thin crust here. Number 4. Ryan, what are you thankful for?
I'm really grateful and thankful for this podcast and for all the opportunities we have weekly to have silly conversations and deep conversations.
Well, you're welcome.
Mhm.
Ryan.
And eat some pie.
This is
I'm also
amazing.
really thankful that you came up with Afterthinkers.
Afterthinkers. We love our afterthinkers.
This one's good.
I like that you just threw in a blueberry pie. 3 apple pies.
I'm being dead serious.
What did you say?
I love blueberry pie, man.
Yeah.
You
I'll
can finish that one.
I'm
Doug,
thankful.
what are you thankful for,
I'm
man?
thankful for the inspiration in this room. I mean, what's more challenging? Coming back the next year after Kayla shredded you for your
Yeah.
pie baking ability
Never
Right,
felt
right.
more pathetic.
and showing up
Oh,
strong
Yeah, always.
or running 841 miles.
I know the answer.
It's like,
I'm not gonna say it.
I mean, we're
Dude.
talking the same ballpark though.
Yeah, it's a coin flip.
Yeah, you and
At
Matt
home.
have a lot in common.
Everything.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
I don't know, dude. I'm locked in right now.
Well, blueberry's good. Yeah, blueberry's good. Amanda, what are you seeing over there?
This is tough because I think the blueberry could potentially have been homemade.
Mm.
I don't know the way it crumbles like that.
Mm.
It's tough.
It is. The blueberry is
It's
amazing.
Really good.
Yeah.
I do not think number 3 is homemade.
No.
So I think we
I
can
think it's
shelf
4.
that.
What's the number?
So we're kind of between 2 and 4. I feel like is our
2 and 4.
What did you guys think about the blueberry though? Because I don't like blueberries,
I
and
love
like I
blueberries.
ate that, and I was like, okay, that
Maybe
might
I do like
there-
blueberries.
yeah, this is.
But this.
That's
I think it's a phenomenal pie. I don't think it's the homemade one.
But hear me out. It's
That's
the
how I feel.
ugliest.
It is the ugliest.
So I'm like, how do you like?
Man.
Like
It's messy.
But I think his specialty is apple.
I know.
But he could have really fooled us if he made the blueberry and just was like, oh yeah, just grab this one.
There's something about this crust on
I
number
agree.
4.
that's what. No, it's the way
I
that
think
it,
it's number
sits. It
4.
looks like it was rolled by somebody.
Yeah, it feels.
Okay, but
yeah.
before we
Nice.
find out which one was your favorite?
Well, hold on. I got to go back in on 2 and 4.
Yeah, go. I'm between 2 and 4 too.
Let me just.
I choose number 4 because
Yeah.
Southern pie has too much crust to it. It's like
All right.
way more crust than anything else. And number 4 has a good thin crust, good ratio.
In the words of Ryan Wekenman, New York style pie.
New York, that
Yes.
oh yeah, New York style.
And just so
pie.
everyone
He's
knows,
got it.
just so everyone knows
There
that's
you go.
watching this, these are warm.
These
Oh, yeah.
are warm.
Like this is no like cold pie. This is.
This
I'm
isn't
going.
JV.
I'm going with number 4.
Homemade.
I need one more.
Homemade
Is it what's your favorite?
is both my
Wow.
favorite and the one I believe is homemade.
Has it's unique.
Yeah.
My 2 favorites are the blueberry, which is number 1, and then number 4.
Matt.
Because blueberry is just my favorite, but this feels homemade to me.
Yeah.
Dude, number 2 is a close second.
Hold on, one more. Everyone by everybody.
Matt's got to
knows.
catch up on some calories after he ran 841
Yeah, yeah.
miles. You can finish all
Me
these.
too, man. After my
After your
leisurely
1 mile?
stroll,
Yeah, well, you walked a mile.
it wasn't quite that leisurely.
Oh no, I believe you,
4.
man. And
4 is
your
the
neighborhood
homemade
is hilly,
Very hilly.
so you guys are kind of the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. You think
2 and 4 are great pies
Both phenomenal.
Okay.
because if I couldn't look at them, I would pick 2. If I didn't see the way that this was
The
presented,
Okay.
I
presentation.
think the presentation. I think I'm gonna go with 4.
Okay.
We might be fooled.
this we might be.
I mean, a good blueberry pie is just different. It's
Let's-
just good.
I
Let's
love
get a
blueberry
drum
pie,
roll.
man.
Drum roll.
I just
Marolas. Which one was homemade?
4.
Yeah.
Yes, let's go.
We got it,
It was great.
dude.
Thank
Really
you.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Come
that was a
on,
great
bro.
one.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Actually,
Oh wait, yeah.
Oh,
Here's
Not
the
quite
most,
She saw my-
redemption.
here's the most important
her
part.
mic has been muted.
Kayla.
We forgot to unmute her mic.
Do you know which one is the one Marolas made?
I think it is 4.
yes.
And Give
I
us a
already had
honest-
my fingers up as 3 as my favorite.
3 was
3 was your favorite?
Yeah.
Which one's that?
That was like I grabbed that at the on the way to
Oh.
the cash register.
Yeah, literally. I was gonna say that was the one where I was like, I've had that before.
Well, that's why it's like
when I was late for
familiar.
that party.
Yeah, that's
was
the
your
one you get at
favorite?
Walmart for $6.99 the day after.
I like the
We
blueberry.
didn't even get a mention by us, and Kayla's like,
And you
"That's
try
the
to
best."
convince everybody
Hey, what
you
do you
made
rate-
it.
what do you
and
rate
nobody
Marolas?
believes
Yeah, I've
you.
been up early making this pie.
Give Marolas a rating on his.
You know,
Be honest.
Marolas-
Don't just try to appease the audience. Some of the audience loves this rivalry. The Afterfingers. There's
The
Team Kayla
Afterfingers.
and Team Marolas.
Morales, I am really proud of you
This is not going to be good.
for coming here
But
Yeah,
and
it's coming.
being consistent as last year.
Wow.
So what? Out of 10.
You have anything else on that?
Out of 10.
I have nothing.
I'm
I
good.
have no
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 again.
No, 6 out of 10 was last year.
Oh.
Okay.
So you went up.
Some progress.
We need to check the archives because I think she gave him a 7. What's your rating of it?
7 out of 10.
That's so cutthroat.
He just spent like his whole evening preparing this for us. And Kayla goes with
Just so cold blooded. 7.
What does
Wow.
he need to do?
Yes.
Let's
Right?
ask the real questions here. What
this-
needs done?
This is amazing.
You call this organic Honeycrisp apple?
Yeah.
This is Gala apple. Or whatever it is. The Gala apple.
I never know how to say that word.
Isn't it
Gala?
Gala?
And not
Gala?
organic.
Gala.
That is not organic.
I don't
I'll tell
think
you
it's
that
Gala.
much.
Wait.
I think I'm a
there
crust
is-
person.
No, I just want to.
You're what?
I'm a crust person, and so
Oh wow.
the other ones have like a lot of thicker crust.
Well, after thinkers out there, comment your favorite pie. All right, let's keep moving on.
What about?
It's like the most try hard YouTuber. Like, don't forget to leave a comment. Drop a comment with your favorite pie.
2, or 3, or 4?
Which pie do you think
I
you would
knew
have
this was homemade.
You were here. Okay. All right.
It's like a mustache.
You guys keep.
Looks like mine.
dark
It might be mine.
mustache.
Anyways,
It's good.
You guys,
Morales, phenomenal
good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bro.
You want to know
Feel
how we
feel free to
knew?
stay on the
Incredible.
couch.
You want to know how we knew 4 was yours?
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
Go ahead. Sure.
All right. One of your mustache hairs is sitting on the plate.
Stop.
God.
Ooh.
Get that plate out of here.
Leave it in.
Leave it.
Leave it in. It's part of the experience.
That's right.
I thought
Okay.
it tasted phenomenal.
5 out of 10. 5 out of
I
10.
think it was one of y'all's.
Yuck. Okay.
It could be mine.
Amazing.
I have.
Hey, thanks, bro.
I did start growing out like my 9 hairs on my
Yeah,
mustache.
it's looking full.
I know it's not
I love
going
it.
any.
Morales, thank
it's
you.
Not going
Yeah.
any more than where it's at now.
I think it's great.
Okay.
That's
okay.
Okay, Matt, what are you thankful for? Now that we finished the pies. Ryan, thanks, man.
Great
What
job,
a
Brian.
servant-hearted guy.
I am thankful for the life I live. Finding Red Rocks Church. How cliche is it to say
Thank
that
you.
here in
Well,
front of you guys?
It's helpful.
I
I
needed
kind
that.
of needed you to say that.
we needed the
this.
recovery after that pie.
Oh, wow.
Hey, I'm not going to quit today.
Yeah, this year, years like, I'm waiting on the roller coaster, right? Like life is always a roller coaster, but this year has been easily like the greatest year of my entire life. Like when it comes down
Come
to
on.
like my business, my athletic achievements, finding Amanda, finding the church. Yeah, like this year, I can't, there's years where you can look back and you'll be like, man, like that was a rough month or like that was a rough time. I don't have that this
That's
year.
awesome.
And I noticed that like we went to Amanda's retreat in Zion and we had to write something down that was like a tough point in our life in the past year. And like in my group that I was in, I was like, I mean this like as humble as I can be. I'm like, I have nothing to write down.
Yeah.
And it was in that moment where like I sat back and I'm like, I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
And
That's cool.
like I'm doing the right things. I'm on the right path.
That's awesome.
And never in my life have I not experienced any type of like, toxicity or turmoil in a year until this year. So hopefully I can carry that
Let's
on.
go.
And
Awesome.
yeah.
man.
I love that. Well,
Yep.
being on this podcast could change that.
Yes.
I know you have a few followers on social media, but once you're on this podcast,
Oh,
I don't know if you're ready for just the hordes of people that are going to be tracking you down, recognizing you on the street.
Dozens.
At least
are-
hopefully they're good people.
There are-
I need some more good people that are following me.
We do
The
have that.
We have a
Afterthinkers
lot
are-
of them.
All right, Kayla, real quick, we'd like to hear your. This year we have, what is it?
Fun facts with Kayla.
Fun facts with
Wow.
Kayla, a new segment,
Yeah.
Okay.
and
Many segments.
we just vote if we think it's true or false or what. Or you just tell us a fact and we all respond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we
You give me your
get a rank the
Content with
questions
Kayla?
1 to 10?
Which
Yeah,
one we think
exactly.
is yeah.
Yeah.
Which one
one
is
is
a better
most
rank?
true?
Yeah.
All right, hit us with the first fact.
content with Kayla would have been better.
That's probably better.
Content with Kayla, nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, first one, Thanksgiving was originally celebrated in mid-October. Did you guys know that?
No.
Why?
Yeah.
Why did it move?
Oh, wait, is that a fact?
It's a fact.
Oh, I'm over here and I'm like, no.
False.
Like,
False.
wrong. No.
Wrong.
Oh, I should have done like
Wrong.
two truths and a
Even-
lie.
We're gonna
but, like-
keep on acting like we don't know if it's true or not. We'll guess.
Okay. Yeah.
Why did
well,
it move?
was President Lincoln who said it in November.
You
So,
changed it to November.
Yeah.
That seems like
Do we know
Yeah.
why?
It used
Of
to
course,
be.
Abe did that.
I was saying that sounds like something Lincoln would do.
because he was tired of
don't know
people
what
decorating
Abraham
for
does.
Christmas early, and so he wanted to move it back
Maybe.
to try to
Yeah.
get it.
Gosh, that
Okay.
sounds like daylight savings time, just a sham.
Yes. Yes.
It's not even real.
Yeah.
Let's.
We don't set clocks back in my household.
They just
I
came
relate
out
to everything.
They just came out with a study that people who decorate for Christmas early are happier.
I love that.
It makes perfect sense
Because you don't live by some
Yeah.
fake societal rule. You just are excited to celebrate
Yeah,
something.
I'm all
it's not.
for that.
Yeah, it's not decorating for Christmas early doesn't make you
I want it
happy.
also.
If you're just a happy person, you tend to decorate
Yes.
earlier.
Yes.
Which
Doug.
came
It's-
first?
Do it.
It's
Being
correlation, not necessarily causation.
Causation.
I set up
Mhm.
lights 2 weeks before
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
your house
every
looks
year.
great.
I love it.
I'm trying to put up some
It's
permanent
fun.
lights this year.
Nice.
Nice.
Year
Yeah.
round.
Ooh.
Yep.
And you could change the color of them for like summer nights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man.
That's cool,
Uh-huh.
man.
All right, next fact.
Okay. Well, here, I'll make this one a question.
Okay.
Okay. That way, because you guys.
Yeah, no, you're crushing it. You're crushing it with Kayla.
All right. So, which do you think it's a male or a female turkey that can gobble? That makes the gobbling sound.
Oh, it's
I
the,
didn't
it's
know
the,
that it was
it's
only
the,
one.
It's the female.
Yeah, only
Female. I
one.
was going to
Yeah,
say
it's
that.
the female
yeah.
because
Yeah.
the female gobbles and the male is going to come running.
Mm. Is that right?
Actually, it's a male.
You said it with confidence, though.
Yeah.
And that.
That's-
If we
Yeah.
would have just moved on, everyone
Yeah,
would
we
have.
would all believed it. It's a
Yes.
mating call.
Ethan's
Wait,
over there. Ethan's like,
why?
yeah,
That
yeah.
makes perfect sense.
The male gobbles
Yeah.
and the females come running.
Yeah,
Oh.
just the
Yeah.
females just
That-
make
trust
like
me,
a
guys.
cackling sound.
That's the new era
Yeah.
we live in, man. Things have changed a lot. Suddenly, men are the chatty ones. Only the men talk. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, move on.
Okay, so I'll make this one also a question.
Well, it seems like we got a theme running here now. Questions with Kayla. She can't get away from it.
I got
She
this.
cannot get away from questions.
I got
with
this.
Kayla.
I need a rebound.
Okay,
go,
so
Matt.
I'll give you guys multiple choice for this one.
Oh no.
So the first Thanksgiving was actually a blank day festival. So 2-day festival, 3-day festival, or 5-day festival.
Ooh.
On three, everyone hold up what number you think.
Yeah,
One,
yeah.
How
two,
would
three.
you?
5. I'm going 5.
Oh,
It was
3.
3.
At
5.
least we're all
Yeah.
together.
5 is
You
excessive
saw
now
my-
that I think about it.
I changed it when I saw a bunch of 5s.
Oh,
Okay.
I was like, this is my chance.
Outlier.
Dude, you're
Robert
reliving
Frost.
in a
Robert
5-year-old.
Frost over
Out of the
here.
corner of my eye, when I saw Kayla hold up 3,
Replay
that's
that.
When I
Replay
knew.
that and then
Yeah.
slow
We
mo
need to
it.
see when he
yeah,
smashed
slow
her on
mo
the
it.
challenge
Yeah,
flag.
yeah,
Get the
exactly.
pencil
I want to
down here
replay
and
because when I looked over, he did this. I looked back and it was at this,
No,
and she
guys,
had
I'm
already
telling
said
you, as soon as I noticed Kayla had 3, I knew I
Yeah.
need to change to 3.
slow mo
Why is
replay.
it 3, do you think?
Hmm?
Since you're the expert. Why was it a 3-day festival?
Oh boy.
Because 3 turkeys.
Yeah. And 5 is just excessive, if we're being honest.
Yeah, that's
3 is a
yeah.
biblical number. 4,
Completion. No.
that's 7.
Not quite.
Genuinely asking.
It's like another
3 days
version
is-
of completion,
3
isn't
days
it?
is a very important
What
set
is
of time.
happening?
It's probably biblical.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He
This is
completed it.
Jonah,
Completed death.
Jesus.
Podcast.
Yeah.
The sign of Jonah.
All right,
Yeah.
next fact. Or question, I should say.
Yeah,
I don't even know what's happening anymore because it was
That's-
Jonah,
that's how
it was
this
the
goes.
giant fish, and it was
follow
Nineveh.
along.
Yeah,
Just
3.
nod.
3, obviously.
3's a crowd.
help
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
3's a party.
All right, now we're just gonna go. Not any more questions. We're just gonna state it as a fact.
Okay.
All right, I like
We're
it.
back to content with Kayla.
This is my last one. Okay. So the first Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade featured Central Park zoo animals. So instead of the inflatables, it was zoo animals. So they had like
Wow.
bears, camels, elephants, all from the Central Park Zoo in
That's
New York,
cool.
roaming the streets.
Whoa.
That's
So there
wild.
you go.
Wow.
That's also
That'd be
it's-
kind of awesome.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Good job.
Central Park Zoo is
Got
also a really
What
great
is true?
zoo. It's a very unexpected place to have a zoo,
Mhm.
and there it is.
The animals from Madagascar actually
Yeah.
lived at that
right.
Central Park Zoo.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
And it was just a wild testimony that they lived over the
Yeah.
next couple
When
of
are
weeks.
they coming on the Afterthoughts podcast?
Soon.
Yeah, that's gonna
Were
be
they in the
interesting.
parade?
They were.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
nice.
part of their story.
Nice. Congratulations.
I
to them.
been
got
through so
one
much.
quick question because I do questions every night with Kinsley.
Questions with Kinsey.
We do Disney questions, and she won a Little Mermaid questions last night. I'm gonna see if you guys can get this
Oh no.
because it's 2 really good questions.
Redemption.
And after thinkers, put it in the comments.
Drop it in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your friends.
I'm guessing
go.
it's been longer since you guys have seen The Little Mermaid than for me. But
Yes.
what did Ariel call a fork? Was it A,
Okay.
a whoozy whatsy, B, a whatchamacallit,
Ooh.
C, a dingle hopper. 4, a thingamabob.
Okay. I want to comment.
Comment.
Dinglehopper is in there, but I believe that is what's the bird's name that she goes to get all of
No hope.
Scuttle?
Scuttle. Yes.
Okay.
I think he calls it that.
Didn't she use it as a hairbrush? She was like,
Yep.
And so
You guys are
You're
we're
close.
right there. Say the options again.
a whatchamacallit?
that was
A
B.
whoosy whatsy.
That was B
You
last
just
time.
switched them. He's
Oh,
trying
a
to trick us
whoosy
like
whatsy,
Kayla.
a
Benjamin
whatchamacallit,
Franklin.
Yeah,
a dingle hopper,
gosh.
a thingamabob.
No, he didn't say thingamabob last time.
Dinglehopper.
Thingamabob.
A whatchamacallit. That's what I'm going
I think it's a whatchamacallit.
It's a dingle hopper.
I wanted to go with
Oh.
Follow-up question.
Oh, wow.
How many thingamabobs did Ariel have?
that. 5.
Plenty.
I don't know.
You're on the right track.
What?
20.
20.
Yeah.
Yep.
There it is.
Oh, how'd you know that?
It was
It's
the
in
song. You want thingamabobs? I got 20. But who
Oh,
cares?
Ryan.
No big deal.
At least it's
Wow.
really
Have you
cool
seen
The
that
live
I.
action one, is it
Good
good?
job, Ryan.
I saw it.
Is it good?
I thought it was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he watches
I haven't seen it.
every
They
night.
changed the
Yeah.
ending though.
Every night.
Ah, they got
See
to
our very controversial Twisters episode when I
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, although
Yeah.
I watched Twisters again last week. I love that movie. It's so good.
It was good.
Doug's back
Mhm.
on the Twisters.
I get him to watch it for weeks.
Matt, you got to watch it.
Are you scared?
Yeah.
It's one of the craziest documentaries you'll ever see.
And man,
Ever.
she's not talking about the documentary. She's talking about the
No, I
movie.
know.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, wait, there's a documentary?
Yeah.
No,
Not as
Amanda's
crazy
like,
as The
Amanda's
Little
like,
Mermaid.
it's
That
a,
documentary
there's a
was
love
insane.
story, and it reminds
Have
me
you
of
ever
us. Is
been-
that right?
Oh yeah.
It reminds you of you
yeah.
guys?
Well, no, just the movie Twister. It was so good. It had,
Oh.
Yeah, but when you came
Oh.
home from watching it,
with like the country vibe, like
Oh yeah.
the
The tornado wrangler.
Yes, exactly.
He would be, wouldn't he?
Here's a
Man,
question for
my wife didn't say that about me.
you. No.
I wonder why.
Have you
She
ever
doesn't see me
been?
as
You'd be the
the,
guy hiding under the seat in the movie theater.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Save
scared.
me.
apparently I'm the
Matt, have you ever been
Save me,
running
Matt.
in the Midwest on an afternoon and seen really dark clouds coming and gotten caught running in a crazy storm?
Ooh.
Ooh, not in a storm, but I have started a workout, like a marathon workout. It's like a 20-mile workout. And I ran 10 miles out to run 10 miles back. I got 10 miles out on a single path, Midwest, super flat. And like the storm was rolling in and there was like 35, 40 mile an hour winds
Dang.
as I'm running back
Against
Coming
you.
against you.
into the winds.
Oh,
So like trying to, and like it's very important to like hit these like workouts. Like I mean,
Right.
they are like specific paces, and yeah. So like that was, I just remember running. I'm like, this is horrible.
Crazy.
And then
Perfect
you
segue.
just- yeah,
Because you
just
grew
kinda
up in the
take it in.
Midwest.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about your growing up backstory
Hmm.
to lead up to going to the military.
Yeah. Wow. How deep do you want to go?
Let's go. This podcast is basically two different podcasts.
Yeah, I'm like,
And we
I don't
just
know what
made the
the
switch.
vibe
In
is
each
here.
episode, it goes from like complete ridiculousness, and then we just do what I just did, and it's like in a second, it goes to like a very deep, serious conversation.
Okay.
So for most of you who went ahead in the
Skipped over
episode,
that.
welcome
Welcome to the
Afterthoughts.
Afterthoughts podcast.
Yes,
Matthew Johnson.
Sorry, you don't like having fun. Congrats on putting your decorations up in a few days from now.
Yeah, we just went straight from like Thanksgiving to like I
Yeah.
don't know, but my body doesn't know
If you ever run
if it's
into
in fight or
Wayne, Matt,
flight right now.
Tell us about your childhood.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I was going. Is it was like yeah,
You grew
so
up in the
pies,
Midwest.
pies, fun facts. Now tell me about your childhood and all your traumas.
Yeah, exact. That's about how we roll. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, growing up, originally born in small town Iowa. Like I was in a town that is called Melcher, Dallas. So Melcher hyphenated Dallas.
Okay.
And it was back in the old days, like these were two tiny coal mining towns that had a bridge, like a one-car wooden bridge that connected them over a railroad track. That they then decided to make it one town because they were so small. And as in like make it one town, I mean like from 500 people each to like 1,000 people.
Wow.
So I was born there, raised there, up until about 5th grade, moved with my grandparents to Arkansas, moved back again. And So we had no stoplights. The closest Walmart was 20 minutes away.
Wow.
If you were to take a drone shot and just move a drone up, it's literally just this tiny little town with a water tower in the middle of a cornfield.
Wow.
And which is really cool because like to me, like that's normal.
Mhm.
And then like when I tell that story, then like you sit here and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And like I never saw it like that. Like it was just like, oh, this is, I live in Iowa. I live in the middle of a cornfield.
Yeah.
So growing up there, my mom had me super young, had multiple jobs growing up, worked in the medical field. I would like transition back and forth between my grandparents and her house because she was working as like a med aide during the day and then would work like gas station overnight, single mom. And then, life was like, we lived in a double wide trailer, which, I thought was, normal, and had a good upbringing, as a boy. And then, moving into my young adulthood, my mom got into a really bad marriage where, we were it was just odd from the start. I was 8. 8 or 9. My little brother was just born. So I was probably 10. My little brother was about 2 years old. We both have different dads. And then this was with the third guy that she got married to. I said that wrong. This was with the first guy she got married to, but it was like my mom had me with my dad, then had my brother with his dad, was engaged. And then they separated. And then she was married about 3 or 4 years later to her husband. So, at that time, what kind of spiraled everything out of control was, we were, we started moving because he was a government contractor, and we started moving around. And this is all information that I've gathered, post trauma blocking, and now as an adult, that like where I've kind of pieced everything together on like how it all happened. Yeah. And so we started traveling around and like moving to we lived in Brownsville, Texas for like a summer. He worked at Langley Air Force Base. We moved out to Virginia for, about a year. Like it was like 10 to 8 or 8 to 12 months in all these different places. And during that time, like he, I'm probably 10. He became like very physically and mentally abusive, towards my mom first. And then like my brother and I, where we would be like, I remember a specific time that like my mom was gone, and I don't remember what happened, but like my brother and I were locked in a bedroom for like hours. But like at that time, I didn't really know, not until I became an adult did that like cause me any type of trauma, I think, because I didn't know really what was going on. Mm-hmm. And then, the bad part is that like he forced my mom to quit her job and was like, I'll take care of us. Like, I'll take care of the family. And like, for me, like, I remember now, to where like, it was almost like don't get a job, right? Instead of like being like, hey, quit your job and I'll support the family. It was like, you don't need a job. Like, you're not getting a job. You're staying here. And so then we were stuck. And, then traveling around, like, and we lived a very like high lifestyle on like, as in like swiping credit cards, and had, we had nice cars. Like we had a big boat, and like when we lived in Virginia, but like it was like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in debt from what I found out as an adult. And so, flashing forward, get to, like there was times where like I saw, making this a long story short, like I saw like my mom got her face bashed off the front of the car, knocked her teeth out, drugged to her room by her hair. And, there was just a lot of trauma, and that's, that's what prompted me, I think, to join the military. I then watched, my mom get addicted to pills to escape reality. And, there was times, that I would find her not really with it at all. And which is crazy to me thinking that back now, because I kind of see it as like a fever dream. And like looking at my mom now, like you would meet her and you would have no clue. Like you would be like, no way. Like there's not a chance. And so like seeing someone do something so drastic to like escape reality. And then, I think the peak of it for me was, I came home one day and found her like face down on the kitchen floor, like almost dead. And then I think it was a couple days later, like that was the peak. A couple days later, I was in school, small town, right? Like 30 kids in my class. Everybody knows everybody. Like when you give directions, you talk about like Susan's house, you know, so everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
So my uncle and the athletic director were like best friends. And that's the funny part of the story is like the athletic director, like if you went to his office, I don't know why, Jim Crozier was his name. You go to Jim's office, like you're about to like get into some trouble. So like I get called to Jim's office, and him and my uncle coached the football team for years together, best friends. And I'm like, oh no, like what have I done? And I get there, I walk in, it's my uncle, and he's standing in there. And I'm like, oh no. And he's like, hey, like we're leaving. He's like, grab your stuff. So I got in the truck, and he's like, we head like out of town. I'm like, where are we going? And he's like, I just want to let you know, I don't think she meant to, but your mom, we think that she tried to kill herself. And she's like, they're rushing her to the hospital. She's okay, but they're gonna take her away for a couple of days.
Wow.
How old were you?
16 or 17. And the bad part for me, like battling that, was like everybody knows everything. And my first thought, like I was so mad because I'm like, great, like everyone's gonna look at me like this guy's mom tried to kill herself, you know, and like I'm gonna be looked at as the weirdo, you know, and like I was upset. And that was like the beginning of my story. You know, yes, I went through so many more trials and tribulations as a young man, but like that was the beginning. I can pinpoint that moment as the beginning of my entire story changing. From like in that moment, I had no idea, but I was subconsciously making a decision that like I will never live a life like this, or like I now know what right and wrong looks like. And she went away for a couple of days. We went through very hard times because like in that moment, her ex-husband left, took all the cars, took the money, drained the bank accounts while she was in the hospital.
Jeez.
Like was just like, and we had nothing. And so, you know, I think that was a very long story short of, you know, that's what prompted me, I think, joining the military. And, you know, and that was probably 16. So yeah, I was driving 16, 17, 18. Yeah, about 3 years later, I joined the military. There was a lot of probably bad stuff too that happened in those 3 years with, you know, her getting better, having other boyfriends that like were stealing pills from our house, and, you know, just bad stuff. And like in that time frame that my mom was gone, like the scariest moment for me was like we were in the house and I like snuck out that night and of my bedroom, like a movie, right? Like a movie scene where like I propped my bedroom window open with like a golf club because I played high school golf.
There you go.
And when I came back in, he was in there in my bedroom. And as soon as I walked in, he put a gun to the side of my head. Like he was standing to the side of the window, and it was a revolver, and I could hear it. Like I could hear him cock it. And he's like, I could kill you right now. And he goes, and I would tell everyone I thought someone broke in. He goes, I will kill you right now.
Jeez.
And he's like, and no one would know.
Yeah.
And my mom wasn't there. Like I'm thinking like that I'm dead.
Wow.
Right? Like I'm like,
Whoa.
and just, you know, but that's the type of like that those explanations right there are like, unfortunately I had to tell a long story to get there, but like that's the type of stuff that I truly thought was normal. I was like, these are normal family problems, you know?
Yeah.
And so joining the military really helped me, and I think was a godsend because it was like I got to go around and listen to, you know, you're with 100 guys for 6 months, and you get to hear and see how everyone else lived. And I'm truly like, and I mean this with utmost respect, I don't think you really join the military if you don't have any problems. You know, I mean, I don't think like someone who lived a picture perfect life is going to go to basic training. Like there are people that can live a picture perfect life and go to officer school and become an officer, but like you go to basic training, you know, like you don't need the college degree and, you know, so learning, you know, and gaining friends and, you know, really learning how life worked there as an 18-year-old boy. You know, and then coming back and, you know, at that point when I came back, my mom had, you know, bought her own house, was doing so much better. And, you know, I came back and battled my own demons through, you know, living through those traumas, right? Like I had to figure out my own life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I could like just keep going with the whole timeline, but it's.
Was there a faith component at all growing up?
So like yes and no. You know, for me it was you know, like I mean, I have all of these, you know, faith-based tattoos on my body.
Yeah.
And you know, like I was raised like my grandmother is that typical grandmother that like is standing there and she's like, Jesus, take me now, please. I don't want to be here. Like I'll be waiting for all y'all, but like take me now. I'm ready.
Yeah.
And you know, and if I ever had a question about something, I would go to her and she would give me the exact answer. So like that, I grew up knowing who she was in that component.
Yeah.
And like I went to like Methodist church when I was, you know, like very young to where, you know, they would like tape my mouth closed and give me like snacks so that way I would be quiet during service. Because, you know, like the whole like kids thing didn't exist then.
Right.
You just had to sit in there with
Tape your mouth
Sit in
closed.
there with your mom.
Here's 4 different pies. I want you to figure out which one is.
I did not.
Let's order some tape for our usher team in case people have their kids.
I did not get my mouth taped, but like it was like I remember like snacks in the purse where like as soon as you would like get antsy and it was like, you know, here's some like, you
pay
know,
attention.
yeah. Shh.
Yeah. Don't ruin
And
this.
you know, like I'm gonna beat you in the parking lot, you know, like so. So like that's how I grew up, you know. But then like moving on, like there was no faith at all in those years, which it would make sense that there isn't, right?
Yeah.
And you know, then I remember though when I got back from basic training, because I went to basic training and I was alone, and I had this little like pocket Bible. And I would read, like, I mean, this thing is the size of my hand, which is tiny, by the way. But so I would read this part and I would just highlight it. But I turned to God because I was scared, not because I wanted to. Like, I was like, this is all I got. You know, like I didn't have any other books. Like they give you a Bible, and I'm like, well, I guess I had to read something. Here we go. And you know, so that really helped me out in that moment. And then I got back from basic training and chose to go get baptized. And because then my family was in the church. Like I have a like second cousin who was a pastor and everyone was going to their church. And like I would drive like 30 minutes to this church and like go by myself after basic training. But not at all was I living any type of faith-based life. Like I was just doing it because I thought like, oh, you know, it's Sunday, like this is what you do. And got baptized and like completely just moved on, you know, like was just dismissive you know, I mean, it was just a thing that you did. So no, there wasn't like the first time that I surrendered and truly like touched my own faith was obviously, you know, we'll get into that story, but you know, when I got here to Austin, but it was always there. And I was always like, I feel like I've always like, God has always had his hand on my shoulder when I look back now. Because there are so many times to where like, I'm like, why am I like, I will 100% where I came from. I will 100% sit here and tell you that I am successful right now. Like people will be like, I'm not successful, you know, not yet. Like, no, I am.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be. Like I should not be where I am now. And like looking back through all of these moments, I'm like, I know for sure that like in God's plan that he was like, you're not ready yet. And when you are ready, it's going to rain down on you, you know? So like he was always there with me guiding, because I've done some stuff where like, I probably shouldn't even be alive, you know, as well as like just situations I've been in. And like, you know, so I know that there's a higher plan and that God was always there, but I was never always there for him.
What led you to Austin? Tell us that part of the journey.
Yeah. So just, you know, I got obviously like started getting into fitness. And
was that like something you'd already been passionate about, or just like
no, because remember the golf clubs? I golfed during high school so I could avoid track.
Really?
Because small town, right? Small town.
Yeah.
If you don't go out for sports, you are a loser, and like no one hangs out with you, right?
Yeah.
So when my boys,
How
like,
big was the golf team?
there was like 6 of us.
Okay.
But like, you know, I was the odd one out, right? Because like, I mean, I would. This is not like something to be proud of, but I was probably a popular kid out of the 30 people in my class. You know what I mean? But like, so when all of my boys are going and running track, I'm like, hey, see you guys, I'm going to the golf course.
Yeah.
Like y'all have fun.
Yep.
We'll meet up tonight. Right. Like, So no, I was never
Okay.
like I was never an athlete. We got word of a deployment that we were going to go on. We didn't end up going. It was set for 2016. So late 2015 was the first time I ever stepped in a gym, and I would have been 20 years old. And it was because like I was dating this girl at this time, and at 19 years old, and we went on this like vacation to Florida. And like I remember being down there, like seeing all these dudes on the beach, and they were just ripped. And I'm like I gotta take my shirt off out here, you know? I don't know. And so like that was like my kind of my first like getting down that beach, like seeing like because I live in small town Iowa, like we weren't leaving, like we wouldn't go places, you know, like we didn't have no money. So I get to Flint, I'm like seeing these people that are like fit, and I'm like, what is like, I don't don't look that, you know?
How do you do that?
Yeah. I'm like, wow. So we get back, I get word of it. I get word of this deployment, and I'm the same, obviously the same height I am now, probably 5'7", 170 of like, just kind of like skinny fat. And, you know, and I was like, we're going on this deployment. I'm like, I'm screwed. Like I need to, so I would go to the gym. This is 2016. I would go to the gym and I would literally just watch people. They'd be doing like tricep push downs, and like, I'd like wait for them to stop. And then I'd like go over there and I'd like do tricep push downs and, you know, like starving myself, but then like seeing like, you know, watching like bodybuilders, you know, and they're like smashing protein shakes and like going to like meal replacement. And like, I had no idea what I was doing.
Which
right.
one is it?
Yeah.
Do I eat a lot or no?
Yeah. So then like during this time, like I just like stopped eating, and now it's moving into 2017, and I cut down to 124 pounds.
Whoa.
From one, like I was ripped, but I couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
like
not
I
in a
couldn't
healthy
even
way,
I couldn't even lift weights, you know, like I just like stopped eating and then so, you know, now moving into, you know, 2018, got back, you know, started like actually working out in the gym, 2019 working out in the gym, 2020 COVID hits, gyms closed down. I'm like really into fitness, but I'm still not competing or like doing anything. I'm not running yet. Late 2020, after, you know, sitting inside all those months, late 2020, I just kind of started running. Like I would run like 3 or 4 miles because I'm like, okay, I can't go to the gym. Like I was running up and down the stairs to like the basement. And, you know, at that time, I skipped over the fact. So I met my wife then at the time, ex-wife now, in 2018. We immediately got married, and we were married up until 2023, which plays into this story. So go all to fitness, right? Get to the end of 2020, and like I'm like, all right, I listened to David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. Have you guys listened to that book? So for me, right, like Goggins is like, you know, carry the logs, like, you know, move the boats, and let's go. I'm gonna kill everybody, right? And most people are like motivated by that. To me, it was like I was then like in an unhappy marriage at the end of 2020. And was, you know, reverting to substances. Like I was drinking all the time, you know, still working out, but like I was not happy. And I was always making excuses for why I wasn't happy. And I think I was masking that with alcohol. Like I wasn't an alcoholic, but like it'd be like, oh, Wednesday night's bingo night down at the brewery. Like let's go hammer beers until I throw up, you know? Yeah. And then I'll go to work the next day. But then I go to the gym, you know? So, I mean, it was weird. But I got to this point where like I listened to Goggins' book, and I would just start running like while I would listen to it. And to me, it wasn't like the like stay hard mentality. It was like, I'm like, if this dude went through this stuff and I can relate to this on a very similar level, why the hell am I giving all of these excuses? And so then I just kind of started implementing, like, you know, into 2021, we got stationed in Virginia. I just kept running. And I actually figured this out yesterday. I was talking, with my manager, Lisa, is in town for the running event, and she was at my house, and little did I know before I hired her, she used to be this like big life coach. Wonderful for me, right? So yesterday we dove into this, and I was like, I think what happened is like, you know, because I have this crazy mentality, you know, that we'll obviously get into. I developed this mentality. I listened to Goggins' book. I think I broke it down like 18 times in like 18 months, and I would just listen to it on repeat, like all through 2021. And I would listen to it on repeat. And I just think I developed this mentality of like, it doesn't matter, keep going. You know, this like, just this cliche of like, dang, that sucks, moving on. You know, and as well as that being put in me as I was growing up, right? Now that you know the story, like it was always like we just had to move on.
Yeah.
And so I was stationed out in rural Virginia in 2021. I was a recruiter out there for the National Guard. Nothing to do at all, like not even like a bar in this town. And so I just started running the Appalachian Trail. Is that how you pronounce it? Probably not.
I think so.
Over, like I would run that trail over, and I was running 70, 80 miles a week, having no idea what I was doing. And I got super sick again. Like I lost all that weight. Like remember when I lost, you know, because the body will remember things. Like a lot of people don't realize that, but like if you've been a muscular 280 before and now you're like, oh, like I wish I could get back to that. Like your body will remember how to get back to that. So I cut all that weight down. I ended up accidentally shredding all that weight again, got super unhealthy. And I got on YouTube and I'm like, how to eat like an endurance athlete. And I found Nick Bear. And Nick Bear owns Bear Performance Nutrition in Round Rock, just north of Austin. And then I found Austin. And then like you will see this story play out to like, this is literally God leading me to Austin over and over again for no idea. I had no clue how or why. Yeah. So fast forwarding the story, I came down to Austin in 2022. I ran a marathon. I went 2:59. I met
these guys ran a marathon without training. What'd you run it?
We did
3:59.
We got just under 4 hours. Yeah, 3:59.
1 extra hour.
That's really good. Like that's actually really good.
Thank you.
That is really
and
good.
Also, you cut an hour off of that.
Yeah, but that is so good though. Like it is. Like people get caught up in these times, but like I think it's like 0.01% of the entire world runs a marathon.
Yeah. You guys.
Thank you.
They needed this. Thank you.
Yeah, it is.
Clip it.
Yeah. Cut the podcast right there. We are done.
Just text that to me and Ryan.
They got the affirmation they needed.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. And met Natasha Vandermeer, who is a triathlon coach here. So I started traveling to Austin a lot in 2022. And then that started just diving a spear into my marriage because my ex-wife was very much, we got married young, right? Like 2019. And it was, we were together for a long time, like together very young. And she was, I want to stay in Iowa. I want, to not leave. I want to have the simple life. And I was getting to the point, she's like, I want you to stay in the military. And I was getting to the point where I was seeing and being called to like where I thought I could go. And we were just going in two opposite directions. And, we got to a point where 2020 in February, I came down to Austin once again. And I had been down here, I think like 12 times in a year. I loved this place. And every time I left, I felt like I was, like when you go on a vacation and you're kind of like, oh man, when you really like it, you're like, I got to go home. Like to me, like that was Austin. Like I felt like I was leaving home to go to some other place. And so I get back and, there's a day, transparency, like I walk in after lunch and, she meets me in the kitchen and she's like, I want a divorce, and walks out the door. And it was like I knew that it was coming, but like being presented that like right then and there. And there was no God in our relationship. God was still, this is still, before finding my way back. And over the next like 4 days, I came to a point where I remember sitting upstairs, and this is me like reverting back to my traumas of what I've seen. I remember sitting upstairs and I had a shotgun in my lap, and I was like, I'm gonna kill myself. Because I felt failed as a man, because I would have never left that relationship. I would have lived unhappy for the rest of my life and never pursued my dreams, because I felt like that's what I needed to do as a man, because that's what, in my opinion, like the small town Midwest teaches you. And I wanted to kill myself like in that moment. And there was no like, epiphany or like godly send to make me stop. It was just, I had a decision in that moment to make where it was like, I either kill myself or I take this moment and move on. Like, and that was truly just a thing that I was playing in my mind. And to me, something just, the thought was, I now have this moment to be free and go do whatever I want to do. Like there is no military, there is no home anymore, there is nothing holding me here. What do I do? And it was like in that moment where like something pinged and I was like, I'm going to go to Austin. And I grabbed my dog and literally a like black bag of clothes and left everything. And I got in the truck and I drove to Austin that night. 12 hours.
Wow.
Like I literally left everything in my home. Like we had right? Like we had a almost 13, 5, 6 years of like
Wow.
things and I left it all.
Wow.
And TV, couch, like kitchen. I mean, I left everything of a 7-year relationship that you would have in a 3-bedroom home. And I was like, I don't want nothing. It was almost like I needed this fresh. I wanted nothing.
Yeah.
I think I threw the bag away I brought with me. Like, you know, and like I needed this fresh start. And we moved to Austin. Me and Ash.
Wow.
Ash and I, my blue healer, on the way to Austin. Nowhere to go.
Where'd you go to when you got here?
So I had a friend because I was down here for the Austin Marathon.
Yeah.
And I left and then there was one more week and then I came down the next weekend. I had a friend who was an athlete as well so I was an ambassador at the time with BPN. And he was down here. He was an ambassador with them as well. You know, like sells product for them on Instagram, or however that works. And I messaged him. I was like, hey, are you still in Austin? Because he lived in like Fargo, North Dakota. And he like wanted to like work in Austin or, you know, like be in good weather. And he's like, yeah, dude, like I think I'm gonna like stay here for like another week. And I was like, I'm gonna come down. I was like, can I stay with you? I was like, I'll tell you what's going on when I get there. And he's like, yeah, dude, like for sure, come down. So I went to that Airbnb, told him what was going on. He stayed an extra week with me. So he stayed 2 weeks. And I was like, hey, like I'll get the next Airbnb. And I was like, will you just stay with me? Like I asked him to stay with me, you know, because at that point I'd never been alone, right? Like I was straight from the military to being married and being with somebody. And he's like, yeah, like I'll stay. So we stayed another week. And then long story short there, I was in 6 different Airbnbs in 51 days. So I came to Austin with $3,000 in my bank account. Like that's what I took. We had like $6K in the account. We split it. And I came to Austin with $3,000 and I was like, I'm going to figure this out. And I spent it all on Airbnbs. And I was like, okay, now I need to like be a coach. So I'm like trying to get athletes. Like I'm trying to, you know, I'm on Instagram. Like at the time I had probably like 30, 40,000. And I'm like, you know, trying to get athletes and I'm signing here and there. And then I find this house. And at that time, like I had got an Ironman bike from a friend. Cause I'd just done an Ironman. Cause I was still, at that time, I was still competing. Crazy enough, like I had this holy trauma happen. And then in April, that was March 1 that I got to Austin. April, I won the BPN marathon. And then a week later, I did a 10-hour Ironman, literally in the same week. But then right when I got back from that, I had to sell my Ironman bike because I ran out of money. And I had to sell my Ironman bike in order to put the, it's not a deposit. It's what do you put on like a rental? Security deposit? Yeah, to put like a security deposit down on a rental. So I sell my Ironman bike for like $2,500. Put the security deposit down on this place. My very first place, like I've owned homes and houses and, you know, I've owned rental properties, but like for this one was different. Like, because I felt like I had nothing. And then I'm like, okay, now I have nothing and now I have a home.
Yeah.
And then I walk in and it's empty and I have no money now because, you know, so there was, So then, you know, then there was times where I spent, I have a picture on my phone where like I slept on the floor for like 3 weeks, but I had a home and I did it, you know, like I made it. You know, the goal was we're going to build and I had a home. And then I, you know, sold a couple athletes like for like, you know, a couple $100 a month. And I went and like, I found this nasty bed on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm like, I got the bed, but then I had to fully start over, you know, like I got the bed and then I got the $100 couch and, you know, I got the like Amazon mantle to go under the TV. I got the TV and I just started slowly adding things in, all through coaching income. Like I didn't, you know, and this was May that I moved into that house. September is when like I signed like my first brand deal, which is where like a brand pays you to, you know, to be a part of your athletic journey. You know, like someone would sign with Nike, right? Or like LSKD is a brand deal that I have. And that didn't happen until September. So, you know, it was a huge struggle. Luckily, and I'm open sharing this because it's, you know, it's part of my journey. Like I made under 40,000 last year or 2023. And that counts January, February military paychecks, which was I was $5K a month that I took home. So I made $30K from March to December.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
So you, brand new chapter, old life is kind of behind you, gone through a painful divorce, all these things going on, starting a new life in Austin. And a whole lot of things have happened in that past year. Tell us a little bit about faith entering back into your life and then everything that's happened with your career and running. And
Yeah. So now we really do get to the best part. And, you know, like obviously I wish I could I need to figure out how to tell that story way faster. Because it's a
lot of details, man.
I like telling this this part way better.
So much goodness to it.
Yeah.
We're at the start of 2024.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now like we're moving into like, because it's me signing that first brand deal was like, that was the start of it. Yeah. Like that was the start of like me starting to see success. And then, you know, meeting Amanda literally the next month. And then, you know, like going on a couple dates. And then she's like, and I told you that we laugh at this because this is just so true. She was like, we're what, 2 dates? Yeah. Maybe 2 dates? 3 dates. Yeah. And like the night of our second date, she's like, do you want to go to church with me tomorrow? And I'm like, I will go anywhere you want me to go.
I love church. I'm always at it.
Yeah, I was like, church.
Yeah, you read my mind. I was going to ask you.
Church is me. I am the church. Like, yeah.
Church is not a place we go.
Yeah. I was like the one like down the road,
awesome.
like the one down the road that way. So she's like that way, but yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that way.
There's many.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just know all of them. So which one you...
And
I will go wherever you want to go.
That was literally like the thought in my head, and I was like, I'll pick you up. Like we can get coffee before. Like I'm like, how can I like make this even sweeter? And so yeah, you know, that was the start of, you know, truly where I said like God had his hand on my shoulder, and he was like, I'm just like, or I don't know what it was, and you know that's okay because I'm not here to try to infer things or, you know, tell people one thing or the other. But to me, in my eyes, it was like either, you know, I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready to listen. And it was like, you know, to where like, you know, a father figure would be like, you're not ready to listen to me yet. And you will be one day. And when you are, I'll be here, you know? And so, you know, so we go back to church, and, you know, we came here, and for me, it was really cool. Just speaking on you guys, like we were just laughing earlier about you know, I was trying to like, Amanda, please let me wear tennis shoes to this speaking event. You know, it was, you know, seeing you guys like, you know, being, you know, seeing 3 men that you are, you know, in similar age with, and, you know, that just look like you. They speak like you. They walk like you. They talk like you. Like it was just like I walked into this building.
We run like you.
They run like me.
Doug last night. Yeah, mile.
Yeah.
Walking into this building.
Goggins, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's get Goggins on here.
5 peas in a pod.
Yeah. Let's get Goggins on here. We'll just get a beeper in the room. So that way, you know, we just cut that. That's like me. Like I'm trying to
You're doing great.
Do you remember that day we were standing out in the hallway, we were saying something, and I was like, yeah, that guy was and I like malfunctioned.
You like started buffering. And I said that, I was like,
you're good.
You were going to cuss. It's okay. He caught himself.
I was going through, and Amanda like literally was like, oh no.
Here it comes.
Because I was like,
yeah. It was, he literally paused like you could see like,
Start
can't say
glitching.
that, can't say that, can't say that. Well, this one might work.
Yeah. And I was like, just a
It's not
piece
a-
of crap. He's not a nice guy.
That sounded so natural the way you said it.
Not a nice guy.
He's not a
It's
nice
bad
guy. He's a bad man.
situation. Uh-huh.
But yeah, you know, I mean, I can fast track through a lot of this. Like it was, you know, I watched my, you know, I set these goals in January of, you know, 10xing my income and, you know, move to an area where I was, you know, Amanda was like waking up, we'd open the Bible and like we would pray and we would, you know, and just started implementing these little tiny things and like giving God access to me. You see my
Thank you
OCD here where I'm like
I
wiping.
know it's wrinkled. I'm sorry about that. Next year it won't be.
Yeah, we'll work on that for next year.
Man, I malfunctioned again. You know, just started implementing like little things.
Yeah.
And, you know, going into like, I had a point where the very first thing that happened was early 2024 this year. And I told you about this, the $100 story. And I'm here at Red Rocks, I'm listening, and I don't tithe.
Clip that. Kingdom builders.
I'm here at Red
I am
Rocks.
so
I'm
honest.
listening, and I don't tithe.
That's so
Yes.
real, man.
And I'm sitting there and one of you comes up, you know, you talk about the app, you talk about, you know,
Yeah.
downloading the app, you know, tithing money like this, you know, this helps us change lives. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm going to donate $100. And I'm like, wow, where did that voice just come from? I'm like, that was crazy. Like, go away. And, you know, so I get to the gym and I'm sitting outside the gym for a half hour because I don't want to go in. This is same day. Don't want to go into the gym. Don't want to get my workout in. And this is like truly like the half hour sitting out there really plays into this because as I'm getting ready to leave, one of my very good friends who is like a very, very godly man pulls in and he like rolls his window down. He's like, dude, he's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to go get in the sauna. He's like, you want to get in the sauna? I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, okay, let's get in the sauna. So we get in the sauna and somehow, some way, like usually we're talking about like steaks and, you know, like football.
Yep.
And like the very first thing that pops up is The Chosen. And we start
Cool.
talking about The
Nice.
Chosen.
Hmm.
And we're sitting in the sauna. And then, you know, as we're having this conversation, and this is March. Yeah, this is March. As we're having this conversation, we get into tithing. And he's talking about tithing, and it's still not clicking yet. And I'm like, I need to do better. And he goes, yeah, dude, you do. He goes, you should just donate or you should just tithe. Sorry, I keep saying donate. Is that even a good word to say? You should just tithe. And I cut him off and I go $100 and we say it at the same time.
Wow.
And I like look at him and he's like, what? And then I told him and he goes, dude, he's like, you need to go sit. Like you like, cause I was on my way out. He's like, go sit in your truck right now and like really like think on it. And he goes, and if it feels right, he goes, tithe $100. I'm like, okay. And at this point, like this is the first time since I moved here, why it was so hard for me. And it's $100, right? Like that's not, it doesn't matter. But like it was hard for me because this is the first time that I ever saw over $1,000 in my bank account since I had moved to Austin.
Sure.
And I had like a lot of things hit and I had like $500 in my bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm about to like, this is a fifth of what I have.
Right.
Even if I had money, you know, I wasn't struggling. Like I had just started to build, right? Like from the base. And I'm like, oh, like a fifth right now. And so I get to the truck and I'm like, okay, like, you know, got on the app, did, you know, the $100 right then and there. And that was Sunday. We leave to LA because I had a 100-mile race coming up. And I had,
Obviously, yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm always doing too when I go to LA.
Crap, I got one of those next
I
week.
gotta go to LA. I had a whole bunch of athlete calls. Like I'd made a story and, you know, who wants to be an athlete and sign on with me and join the team and had a whole bunch of calls. In January, remember how I said I wanted to 10X? So like I wanted to make 10K in a month. That was my goal in January. I wrote that New Year's Eve. And $100 times, you know, 10Xing. And so, I guess 100X. Hard math. So I get on my athlete calls and I have like 7. I take the first one and he's like, I want 6 months. I'll pay up front. Okay. Take the next one. I want 3 months. I'll pay up front. this is weird. Next one, I want 6 months, I'll pay up front. And I'm like, what the heck? Made it all through 7 athletes. I get off the call and I look at Amanda, like we're sitting in this Airbnb, and I'm like, if I am thinking right, and I'm probably not because I don't usually do that, I just made $10,000.
Wow.
And I pull the math. I made $10,000 that day. I'm shaking, literally thinking about it. That was 3 days after I listened.
Wow.
And I tied the $100. And that was, wow, that was me. I'm like, this is me in LA. I'm like, wow. And then guess what? Literally 4 days later, I start this 100-miler in LA and I won it. I won the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, all right. Like, we do this. Like, okay. I'm like, okay, all right. And the only thing that I could put that back to is that we had tithed the $100.
Yeah.
And it was just like one after another. And my money per month just kept growing and growing and growing. And we dove deeper and deeper into the Bible and into, faith, and began sharing that on Instagram, through my Instagram stories. And yeah.
It's interesting when things like click in a lot of people's stories, finally, it's like the great moment of money starts coming in. You started gaining a bunch of followers, having success. And a lot of people's story, that's when they kind of depart from God, where it's like, okay, I now have all the worldly things I wanted, so I'm going to go live that up for a while. But your story was actually intersecting with your faith when all that happened.
Yeah.
Which I think, as we've talked, has surprised you when you're like, now I have this platform. I have a lot of people like listening or paying attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And my faith is clicking into gear right now at the same time. So,
but that wasn't even like, I need to tell the story about the run across Texas, because that's like, that one is the most important one of them all. Because I literally, somehow we meet, we walk in the church and it's Kayla, right? Comes up to us and is like, hey, like Red Rocks wants to be involved in this. Like Ethan wants to meet with you. Like the whole thing freaked me out the way that all this happened. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay. But so to make this quick, and I come to Ethan and I'm like, tell me that this is not true. And he's like, it's all true. And I'm like,
what have you heard?
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on? So to make this quick,
The fourth pie.
I'm getting ready for the run across Texas. Yeah. We are 4 weeks out. I go out for a random run on a Thursday. I need to give you a little backstory here. Last year, at the end of the year, I fractured my leg in 3 spots. It wasn't horrible. It was stress fractures. I had to take 4 months off.
Oof. While running?
In the left leg, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's why if you don't want, you shouldn't do it. That's what you could say.
Never run.
Yeah,
Doug.
maybe I'll stop running. Yeah. Maybe I'll stop my strolls.
I tell people that
Cancel
story all the
that
time, and they're like,
100-miler
yeah,
in
it's like, well, I'm never gonna run, dude. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, while running, I overtrained, and it was, which is why I was talking about that in my keynote, was like I was running from all of my things. I was running from God, and it was like over and over again. And that's when I turned from running away from things to running to things.
Nice.
And that whole year is a whole different podcast.
Yeah.
But I go out for a run, and as I'm running, and mind you, like I've skipped a lot, right? Like you told me, and it'll stick with me forever. You're like, when God has a warrant out for you, it cannot be avoided. Yeah. And that will always stick with me, because it was like over and over again, and I'm like, stop it, stop. I'm like, I just want to like do something on my own, man. Like, come on. Mm-hmm. And so a lot has happened, but this will change my life forever moving forward. And as I'm running down the road, it's 115 degrees. I have this like the VR headsets. Mm-hmm. I'm just running, and it was like full VR headset, TV. Like I have a vision, like a full on vision. I've never had a vision in my life. I've never believed in a vision. Like I don't know what's going on, but there is a TV in my eyeballs. And it is.
That's a funny way to describe it.
That's how they describe it in the book of Acts.
Man, there's almost in tears over here. I have a TV in my eyeballs, and it is me stepping out of the van in El Paso, Texas, in the middle of a parking lot. There are people where we started the run across Texas. There are a bunch of people looking right at me, and I say the exact sentence, "What you are about to see is not of me, but of God." And then like the TV lifts off my eyeballs and I'm bawling. And like I was not there. Like why, and I'm still running down the road. But like it was like I wasn't in my body. I wasn't anywhere. I was in that moment. And like the heat wasn't there. Like I fully came back to like the heat of the day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that was odd. I processed that on my own. I don't tell anyone about it. The next morning, I go to step out of bed, and I can't put any pressure on the left leg, the one that was broke last year. Like as in like I knew immediately. I was like, my leg is broken again, and nothing happened. Like it was odd. That was Friday. We have a friend over, very godly man, Nick Daniel, and he's like, I'm like, I don't know what happened. Like we're praying over the leg.
This is how many weeks before the run across
3.
Texas? Yeah.
Jeez.
We're praying over the leg. We're like, everything's going to be great. He's like, hey, like I have this friend at Red Rocks. Like you should get with her, Kayla. The next day we walk in, she immediately approaches me and then says that like, hey, you should meet with Ethan. And, or you should meet with the church. And then it was, we met. And I'm like, okay, Monday, this is Monday. Is that right? So Thursday, the vision. Friday, I step out of bed, can't step on the leg. Saturday, we pray with Nick Daniel. Sunday, we come to church. Kayla says, we would love to be involved. Do you want to meet? I say, sure. Monday, we drive 3 hours to Dallas to get a cash MRI, paid $800 for an MRI because they could read it in 90 minutes. And I'm like, I need to know what's wrong now. We get the MRI. They find 7 different things in my leg that is wrong. Edema, Achilles tendonitis, fluid on the ankle, fluid on this, a bone bruise here, and all 7 of those things warranted, each one individually warranted not running for over 4 weeks, and extensive physical therapy. And like even like one, like Amanda's dad's an ortho, and he was like, you're not going to be able to do this. And like someone told me to get in a boot, someone told me to get on crutches, and meet with Ethan on Wednesday, and tell him literally everything that we've talked about so far. Maybe dove a little bit deeper today, but we had this moment where we pray, like right when I get ready to leave, and because he was like, how can we assist? How can we help? And I'm like, the only thing I need from this entire church is prayers that I can get this done so we can raise this money for the veterans. Yeah. And he prays over my leg, and that was the first time in my life where like I sat there and I'm like I immediately, as soon as you were done praying, and I think I told Amanda this, I don't think I ever told you, like I was like, yeah, okay. I knew right then and there that like it was immediate, it was done. It was finished. Yeah. And 3 weeks later, I took a week off. I didn't run for a week. I let it heal. 3 weeks later, we take off and we set the record for the fastest time across Texas. And I have 0 pain in my entire leg the entire time. Not a single ounce of any type of pain in my leg.
That's so wild.
But where I just skipped over, I get to El Paso. Yeah. We get to the start line. I get out of the van. Yeah. And it makes me emotional because I saw exactly what I had seen. And I step out of the van and I say, what you are about to see is not of me, but it is of God, because of what was wrong with my leg that no one knew, that we never spoke about until after. And how I know that came from God is because if you know me, if you are on my social media, if you know the way that I speak, you guys have heard me speak today, when would I say the sentence, it is not, what you are about to see is not of me, but of God? Doesn't that sound like it came straight from the Bible? Like, not from me. Like, I'd be like, yo, what, like what I'm about to do?
Yeah.
It ain't me, chief. That's Jesus. Right? But that was the exact thing that came to my head.
Yeah.
And that was the exact thing that I said as soon as I started. And I saw literally like the same thing. Like I don't remember the background, right? Like I'm not gonna tell you that like it was the whole TV, but like the colors of like the day and the feelings and like what I saw in the vision was I lived that moment before I lived it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't like if you don't believe in God, like I am right here saying I saw it.
Yeah.
Like I lived it over and over and over and over again. And that was something that I talked about at the keynote speech last weekend, was every single person that came up before me, and then every single person that I saw as well as myself had one single like common denominator. Like one was a scientist, one was an athlete. I went up and every single person mentioned God and what he has done for them.
Yeah.
And I told them there, as I was like, if you don't believe in God, if you do believe in God, I'm like, that's okay. I'm not here to tell you, I'm not here to put that on you. It's not my job. Like, but I was like, I am here to tell you, like, look at the common denominator here. Like you see these successful people in these positions of power saying, thank you, God, before everything. And like, that is what this has kind of propelled me into, is like, I went to Ethan and I'm like, please, like, tell me that it ain't me, Chief. Like I ain't the one. Like that, you know, and and it was like, no, like this is, you know, this is what's happening. Because to me, it was like, you know, I went through these times where it's like, you know, I love drinking a beer. I love Zen nicotine pouches are I just love them. You know, I've smoked a cigarette on Instagram before. I've lied, I've cheated, I've stolen, I've done all of these terrible things. And I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that I'm that like, why is this happening to me? And I don't know. And I'm not here to tell people, you know, I'm here to tell people what happened to me and lead them and hopefully that leads them to Jesus.
Yeah. When we were talking, what I love about you and I thought it'd be so fun to have you on here. You're so raw and real just about your life. But when we sat down, it was like you were basically, here's my resume of all the things that disqualify me from what I think God is trying to do in my life. Tell me if I'm right here. Like all the stuff you just listed. I'm divorced. If you said to me, you're like, if you looked on my social media right now, I'd be kind of uncomfortable like as a pastor. Like all that stuff. But the cool reality, and you see it all through the Bible, it's our story too, is God will always take the least likely, quote unquote, people, the ones that feel the least qualified, and go, watch what I can do through your life. And I'm going to get the glory through it because people will know this is not of you. This is me. And so our whole conversation was me basically talking you into it. I'm like, dude, I know you feel like the most unqualified guy.
I was begging you not to do it. I'm like, please.
This is how God works, right? And it's what I love in hearing your full story is like, there's a piece that anyone can relate to in there. You know, whether it's abuse, whether it's divorce, whether it's substances, whether it's running from things, you know, whatever, trying to find value in the world, being left with nothing, you know, and having to rebuild a whole life. Everyone can relate to a piece of your story. And I think it's often Christians, we feel like we have to present this polished version of ourselves. But in the Bible, when it says we overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb, which is what paid for all of the stuff that we disqualified ourselves with, and the power of our testimony, it doesn't say like the perfect finished product story. It's the testimony of the good, bad, and the ugly. And that's where people can actually relate. And so the audiences you speak to are so different than a lot of people that would show up to church. And you've told me, you're like, there's people that are like, bro, if you go to church, I guess maybe I could go to church. Right? Like, that's a huge compliment to your testimony because it's reaching people
like
that maybe feel far from God.
After that podcast dropped, and you saw that podcast, right? The one,
what was the name of that podcast?
Meat Mafia.
Meat Mafia. Yeah.
So after that podcast dropped, like I was obviously running in 600 miles deep. I don't really remember this the best, but multiple people had messaged me and they're like, I didn't know how to vocalize my faith. Like I never knew how to vocalize the way that I was feeling, but you did it for me, making me feel like I am okay to walk through those doors. And you know, that is something that, you know, I'm still trying to figure out. Like this, like I have I know I have a powerful testimony to tell, especially after the run across Texas. And I'm still navigating how to do that because like I've had so many, you know, people reach out about podcasting and I just don't know how to like correctly talk about it yet. And I'm still trying to, like, I haven't podcasted since. Since I haven't podcasted. This is my first podcast post Run Across Texas. But, you know, it's like, it's being the vessel. Like, and if I for me, like, I'm on this road of learning about God, learning about, you know, all of this, right? Like, I mean, it's still, I'm a year in. But at the same time, you know, when I'm thinking about, like, I need to change this or I need to change that, about myself, you know, to me, it's like if I can just continue being who I am, and as long as that is still a good person, you know, and I can be this vessel to the people that follow me, showing them that if I can walk through these doors, so can you.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's what I'm trying to navigate right now on social media is, you know, is how do I say this? Because I feel like it's very hard, you know, and I'm sure as you three know, like it is an area you can walk on eggshells a little bit, because I don't know how it's going to be perceived, but I want to have the right words when it's time to say it.
Yeah.
And, you know, so that's where I'm at, is it's like I have this internal battle of, you know, I know I'm doing everything. I'm doing a lot right. Not everything. I know I'm doing a lot right. You know, but at the same time, I don't want, as soon as I make people that follow me feel like I'm pushing my religion on them, then I feel like that's when they turn away. And I'm trying my best to just show them, like, you know, this is what happened to me, and this is what changed my life. Like, and I want this for you. And that's what I'm trying my best to do, because it's not my job to preach to them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, but I really feel like it is my job to tell them my story, because I've told them every other story.
That's so good, man. Can I give you the verse that's on my heart for you?
Yes,
that you
please.
can use here. So in Hebrews 10, we quote it all the time. It's so beautiful. The writer of Hebrews says, by one sacrifice, he has already perfected those who are being made holy. And so there's two steps there, that because of what Jesus did for you on the cross, God looks at you and goes, Matt is perfected. And he's also in the process of being made holy.
Yes.
And so there's two things happening at the same time, right? And so I think like this tension that you can really sink into because you do it really well is you go, I know that because Jesus is my Lord, that I'm already made perfect. Oh, and also, by the way, I'm this massive work in progress.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue to be really transparent and authentic about the journey as I go, because I know my foundation is what Jesus has done for me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. I don't know if you guys saw or not, but like when we posted that clip, like about me talking about that happening, and I talked about talking to you, someone made a comment and was like, oh, because I was oh gosh, I was talking about smoking cigs. It was like Jesus and smoking cigs, like because that was the title of this. Because I was talking about smoking cigarettes. And like me telling you like that I had smoked a cigarette, or
I ran out of the room. I was
So offended.
a guy
Cigarette?
a cigarette. But there was a man that commented on that, and I want to pull it. I want to pull it at some point, but for you guys, because there was a guy that commented on it. He goes, when I first approached the church, he's like, I would sit and vent to my pastor, and I would chain smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
And he goes, and now I am fully sober. Yeah. I do not smoke cigarettes.
I love it.
And, you know, he goes, I understand exactly what you're saying. He goes, but at some point you will change, because whether or not you want it, if that is what is meant for you, it is meant for you. He goes, you know, so because I was just talking about, you know, me coming into Ethan and saying like, I've done this, and this. And he's, you know, he's like, dude, he's like, I sat there just chain smoking cigarettes while I'm in the building talking to him. He goes, but now I have a better life.
Yeah.
That's it. Man.
And me seeing that, and just, that's what I lean on, right? Is like, whenever I'm like, I shouldn't say this, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't, you know, something, you know, where I'm trying to live better, is to me is like, I know deep in my heart my intentions, and I know that like what is meant to be will be. And everything that I do now, and if I feel a type of way where I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that, like, you know, I am forgiven for that, but I already know what the end game is. I already know that I am, you know, like you using that verse, it just made me think of that, right? Like I am on the way to the perfection.
And we tend to think like church sometimes makes people feel like it's an outside in transformation of like, well, first we got to talk about cigarettes. And from my standpoint, I'm like, first we got to talk about, you need to know that God loves you. That's and you need to believe that.
That's right.
You need to know that he actually will do something miraculous in your life right now. We can talk about cigarettes down the road. That's the least of the worries right now.
Yeah,
we need to get to the core of your identity.
Like that's what I'm saying. And I think that's what people are seeing is like, you know, I want to make this clear. I have had maybe 4 cigarettes this year, and they were all for
This episode
content.
sponsored by Marlboro.
They were, they were all for
Sure,
content.
whatever sponsor we can get, man. I heard a pastor tell a story once of somebody came up to him in the lobby and said, one of your production volunteers was smoking out behind the building. And he said, smoking what? Cigarettes. He goes, oh, okay. You should have seen what they were smoking about a year ago.
Right.
Like, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
The behavioral
You know
stuff
what I
is
mean?
a conversation
Yeah.
to be had, but it's the identity stuff.
And why but
that
why?
matters the most.
That's what I don't understand is to me is like why do people why do people think that? Like they think that like I can't walk through these doors because I have to drop the weed, I have to drop the alcohol, I have to drop the
that's a good
cigarettes, I have to
question,
be
man.
perfect as soon as I walk in the door.
Yeah.
Because I don't like when someone when someone's like, well, I could never go to church because I went to the strip club last night. You know, like
It's like that's the exact place you should go. 'Cause
Yeah.
You're living in shame right now. You need to go.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like
Right.
people just think that like, oh, I'm disqualified from that.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what gets me because like that's exactly what you say right there, right? Is like exactly what you just said when you're like maybe 3 years down the road we'll worry about the cigarettes. You know,
Yeah,
I mean
right.
it's like
I think
I don't get it. I don't get that.
Grace is the hardest concept for humans to fully actually believe and grasp.
Yeah.
To truly believe you're forgiven
Man.
is so hard to believe. And so instead of accepting that good news of the grace of Jesus, we measure ourselves and we measure other people and we use other people's behavior to justify feeling better about ourselves. Well, at least I'm not as bad as that guy because
Mhm.
that guy was at the strip club last night or whatever it is, you know, where it's all of those are symptoms of a deep-rooted problem of a lack of identity in Christ and who he really is and us being forgiven by his grace. And then the truth to go live differently because of that. We just tend to do it backwards because it's easier to measure behavior than to actually love somebody who's a mess or to love yourself when you are a mess, right?
is it almost like you kind of this analogy, right? When you're like, we'll worry about that down the road because that's
Right.
not, and then you said that's not the bigger issue. So
Mhm.
when you get in your car and your car won't start, the first thing you're going to look at is the gas, right? Because what's the biggest issue here? Do I have gas?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's good.
okay,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, the
so
windshield wipers,
so
we can
yeah,
get to
yeah,
that.
yeah, right. That's exactly it. Like
Exactly.
breaking it down.
That's great.
Do I have gas?
Mm.
Okay, yes, I have gas. Why else wouldn't the car start? Okay, I need to check the battery.
Yeah.
Right, move to the battery. Is
Mm-hmm.
the battery the battery's dead? That's why, right? But you
Yeah.
go to you go to the root of what's the biggest likelihood that is causing the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
But we go to the problem.
But yeah. But I mean,
That's not the
that's
root of
like
it.
that's
Yeah,
like
there's
people that are like,
a-
my car won't start. Now I need to check the right blinker
Yeah,
in the
right.
back, and then it's on. I'm done checking though.
That's so. That's so. Man.
It's human nature. We look at the cigarette in somebody's hand instead of the soul in their chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jesus goes to the soul.
Yeah.
And God's love, grace, and truth is what transforms.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're talking about cleaning yourself up, making some changes, and hoping it somehow changes your heart in the process because you change some behaviors. But the gospel works the opposite. It goes straight to the heart with medicine, grace, and truth.
Yeah.
And then that's called transformation.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, years go by. And I think one thing we do a disservice of is we put time frames on transformation for people.
Yeah.
Where we go, man, you've been coming here for 6 months. You should be graduated from steps like 1 through 8 by now,
Yeah.
whatever those are for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know? And in reality, it's just keep coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep getting
Well,
around.
we put
the
time on
presence of God.
everything.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's the problem. I mean,
Uh-huh.
and you can relate that back to running, right? I mean, immediately, like that's what took me. That's the biggest thing I took out of Texas, out of the run across Texas was,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm going to pull this back in, but like time is irrelevant. Like we made time and we made distance.
Hmm.
Like we made up distance, right? Because from here to my house is 6 miles or 15 minutes, but how far was it like 100 years ago? It was a decent ways, right? You know, you might want to like not walk,
Mhm.
you know, but
Mhm.
like so we make up this, because as humans, like we always yearn to like I need to make something out of this. Like I have to make up time.
Yeah.
I have to make up because before it was like the sun rises and the sun falls, and or it was all Austin is here, Waco is there. It's a very, very long ways. It's going to take you a long time to get there. You know, but we had to put like, I don't know, there's just something within us that like we have to classify.
Fast track everything.
We have to, we have to put, we
Yeah.
have to have an analytical approach to it.
Right.
And there has to be
And
analytics.
that's why the gospel is so tough for people to wrap their arms
so
around.
hard, man.
Yes.
You know?
Because then you skip past the questions of like, why do you think that a Christian shouldn't smoke cigarettes though? What is it? What got you there? Is it just Christians don't smoke cigarettes? Where did you hear that? Why though? Why does God care about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it because he's man? That's just not on my list, guys. I don't like cigarettes, so
Yeah.
you shouldn't either.
Well,
God
and
made a
that's
list.
like, and
It gets to the point where he's like, no, we'll get to this, right? With
Yeah,
God. He's
yeah.
like, you're using that to, whether it's to cope or to numb something, that I actually want to do that for you. And so now this gets to a point eventually where that cigarette is going to be the thing that is getting in between me and you.
Yeah.
And that's when we'll deal with it.
Right.
Yeah.
But right now, that's not the thing that's getting in
Uh-huh.
between
Bigger
me
thing.
and
Yeah,
you.
and that, I mean,
yeah.
that's just like cussing as well. Was
Right.
it? I don't want to speak out of like turn here. Was that Nick that said that?
Yes.
Okay, literally Nick Bear. Do you guys know of him?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
Nick was the keynote speaker before he came up before I did, and someone was asked him about faith, and then something happened to where like he got to the point and he's like, I like met with my pastor and he was like, dude, he's like, nowhere in the Bible does it say anything about cussing, and he's like, so I thought I'm free and clear, like it was something like that, right? Yeah, I mean, so, but I'm not saying I'm not saying anything about what the Bible says. Where I'm going with this is like, is people get caught up in those tiny
Yes,
little
yeah.
things.
Yes.
And I
We
think,
major on the minors.
and
miss out
it's,
on
it's,
the whole heart of
it's
it.
wild.
But that's why everything comes back to the chosen. I love how it depicts when Jesus goes, the guys he goes and gets,
Yeah.
like the least likely, right? He doesn't hold tryouts.
Mhm.
He doesn't ask for resumes. He goes, nobody's going to believe that those guys
Yeah.
could start a
Then
movement.
the
that's gonna
Chosen
change
does
the world.
so well doing that.
And it's so real
and it makes
because-
you feel it. Like if you've watched the Chosen and then like I come here and I listen to, if you guys are talking about something and I'm like nudging Amanda. I'm like, we watched that.
I've seen
like,
that part.
Yeah, we watched
Yeah.
that.
It's so, but it's relatable and real because
Yeah,
that's
very.
what Jesus does.
Mhm.
He takes imperfect people on a journey with him, and he knows with those guys, he's like, I'm going to get judged for these being my friends, which he did. And years from now, some of this behavior and issues in their life, that stuff will be fixed and transformed. But I need to get to their hearts first.
Years
and we're going to
from
walk
now.
together, and in this relationship, they will start to experience transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that
Guarantee
gotta-
you, 4 of the 12 would have been, if it was today or Zen was back then, 4 of the 12 would have been addicted to Zen for about a decade.
they're fishermen in a boat.
And then they get, and then it's like we get to that.
Can you
know what I
imagine
mean?
if
Yeah.
can you imagine if
Guaranteed.
you just depicted like Jesus and his disciples today?
Oh yeah,
And you would just see like one guy like pulling Copenhagen out of his like the other guy's like smoking a cigarette and like Matthew's over there like like lighting up a bowl.
Well, let me close with this. One of the verses we love most in the Bible is in the book of Acts when the disciples are out preaching and like miracles are happening. There's this movement and they get brought before the religious people who killed Jesus that want to kill them now. And it says when they noticed that they were unschooled, ordinary men, they were astonished and knew that they had been with Jesus. Like these guys have been with God. And that word, unschooled and ordinary, the Greek root is idios, which literally means idiots.
Yeah.
And that's what I love so much about
So
the
we've
story of
always-
Jesus.
we've always
is he's-
resonated with
that's
it.
how we feel. It's like, those guys?
Yeah.
Those guys? But Jesus is like, yeah, that's exactly these guys. Watch what I can do through their lives. And I'm not saying you're an idiot. I'm saying these two are.
Yes.
But
Yes, and amen.
I think it's so...
I feel like that's why you guys are gravitating towards me anyway. So
It's why
or
we're
vice
friends.
versa.
But I all that to say, thank you for coming to share your
Yeah,
story. And I think so many people need to hear it and more people will. And you being transparent about being an imperfect vessel that's trying to go on this journey with Jesus is going to speak to so many people that feel disqualified because they smoke cigarettes or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And
The cigarette's just the metaphor.
yeah, I know you don't. I know you're not a big 4 cigarettes this year, but
It's an easier one to talk about.
I think
Someone will take something out of this podcast, and I will see something somewhere that Matt Johnson is a chain
smoking,
smoker of
yeah.
Marlboro Reds.
Yes.
You want to run 800 miles.
but I just think it's so like hearing your whole story and all that you've gone through, ups and downs, getting to a place with nothing, and then now in a place where you have influence and success is so cool. But what's cool about it is you are leveraging that and using that to tell the story of what God is doing in your life. And we need more and more of those stories from people like you. So thank you for being on here.
Yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
If you stayed the whole time,
We're thankful for the Afterthinkers.
Afterthinkers.
Thankful for our crew here.
Great
making this
centerpiece by Kayla and Dylan.
Yes. This was made from Legos. If you were wondering this whole time, what
That's
is a
amazing.
centerpiece? Made from Legos.
Yep.
Happy Thanksgiving. We're thankful for all of you that listen to this podcast and are part of this journey with us. Matt, thanks for being here.
Matt,
Grateful for you.
Awesome.
Amanda,
Appreciate you guys having me.
you're the alley-oop. You and God got this guy to church. Pretty cool story.
Amanda knew there was pie. She's like, "Am I coming today?"
And thank you to
Let's
Ethan Morales
go.
for an amazing pie tasting today.
Yes.
Go enjoy Thanksgiving with your families.